the Middle podcast, the podcast dedicated to the music, movies, and culture of Generation X.
What is up, slackers, and welcome to another episode of the Stuck in the Middle podcast. I am your host, Jason Eck, and this week is probably going to be kind of in and out, and I'll kind of give a quick explanation of why. So first and foremost, I am celebrating my beautiful bride's birthday, and with that, I was going to schedule my recording session to be a little bit different than normal. I had all the best laid plans. So just a quick rundown. Had a wonderful weekend visiting my oldest son, who's away at college. It was family weekend. Awesome. So Saturday, football game for my youngest in the morning, and then we head down. And thankfully, the football game was actually pretty close to the college. So we went down there and we stopped off at Target before we headed over to campus. Part of the reason was get him some stuff for Halloween, kind of a, not really a care package, but more of like, hey, we're here. We brought you stuff for you and your roommate kind of thing. Halloween decorations and stuff like that. And so forgive kind of the next part as far as like situationally, but we had been, driving for a little bit. Like I said, not too bad, pretty close to the football game, but I had to use the restroom. And I went into the restroom and it was going to be a seated situation. And for whatever reason, the toilet at this particular Target that we went to was exceptionally low, like really low. And I joked to my wife, I'm like, it was like a freaking squatty potty, right? But what was so strange is that I kind of got like a weird kind of head rush, like a little bit of like an instant headache almost, and kind of some discomfort in my back. I'm like, man, I am getting old. This is obnoxious, but I was like, okay, well, we have stuff to do, And I took some ibuprofen, which I don't take a ton of because I have Crohn's disease, and it's not great for anyone's stomach, much less someone with a stomach disorder. So, like, all right, get some ibuprofen, whatever. And we head off to campus, and we're going to have, our day with our oldest. It's going to be just us with the boy, which is kind of nice. We, other kids, different arrangements, whatever. And, we're doing a lot of walking. We go to his room. We're going to go do this. We go out to get some dinner, some fantastic Mexican food, by the way. Just tremendous. So good. And then, like I said, more walking, going to and fro, all that kind of stuff. And drive back home because Sunday we're going to head back down. College is only about an hour away from us. So we're going to bring the other two with us because they're going to have a family mass because it's Catholic college, right? So cool. So we're all going to go to mass together. So in between getting ready, I'd gotten everything done. I'm waiting for everyone else and we're going to, hit the road, reasonable time. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to bang out some laundry, fold some laundry. And one of the most easiest, gosh, I'm terrible. I'll explain why. Like, I'm out of my mind tonight. I can't speak very well, and I haven't all day. And part of that is because pain. So I'm like, towels, folding towels, quick and easy. And I had a little bit of clothes, a little bit of towels. Okay, I'm going to bang out these towels. It's one less thing to worry about because my daughter is going to have her boyfriend over on Sunday. Okay, great. I'm folding the towel, first towel, and I turn around, like I pivot kind of thing, going from, had some stuff on the couch and put it on this table that we have in our den. And my back tweaks. Now, mentioned the day before, kind of had a little bit of twinge, weird headache kind of thing. And now it's like, boom, like totally just seizes up. So think about this as we're all getting older. The two situations that have led to my back having some problems was apparently a toilet that was too low or lower than standard and folding towels. This is peak middle-age bullshit right there. Now, mind you, I've talked about it ad nauseum. I am not in the best shape of my life right now. Best shape of my life was 2019. 18-19, tremendous shape. Now, garbage shape. I am a shape. That shape is round. Dad joke, I know, but that's where I'm at. So, my back is growling at me, hating me. More ibuprofen because we have to go to mass. We have to spend time with our kids. And those of you who have kids, you know, you'll push through for your kids. You'll push through pain and discomfort. You'll do it. So I wore a little bit more comfortable of a sneaker. Okay, great. We go to mass. And instead of being in the chapel, because there's so many people for family weekend, we're in this center. The chairs that they had were ridiculous. They're like the most uncomfortable thing. Now, normally you go and you have these folding chairs. They're like too stiff and you're very upright. These were the opposite. They kind of semi-reclined. The last thing you want when you need back support, right? So anyway, get through that. We go out to brunch, have some great spicy chicken, like amazing. Anyway, and then we got to get on the road, go back, and there's chores that have to be done and all that. By the evening, I went to do some stretches, some good old cat-cow stuff, like those kind of things on my knees. But then I'm going to go onto my back. It's not child's pose. I forget what it's called, but you kind of rock and like you pull your knees up. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to get some relief from my lower back. And then I lay my legs down flat. So I'm laying prone on my back on the ground. And it dawns on me, oh shit, I don't think I can get up. Ridiculous. So I have to figure it out. So bring my knees up a little bit and kind of like scooch over to the side of the bed so I can grab the bed, pull myself up, and I'm a mess. I did not go to work yesterday because I could barely walk. Monday morning. Ridiculous. So part of the reason that my speech and thought patterns are interrupted is because even though I went to the chiropractor today, I did go to work trying to celebrate my wife's birthday, and my back hates me. So I'm kind of in pain, and it just a toilet and towels. This is middle age. So I keep putting off the inevitable of having to absolutely take care of myself. No more excuses. So I have not had back pain like this in probably about 10 years, close to 10 years, somewhere around there, 9-10 years. 10 years ago, about the same time of year, I am changing the height on my mower, on my lawnmower, because I'm going to bring them up to get rid of the rest of the leaves. It was going to be the last gasp for the year. Last batch, sending stuff like we have to put, the bags of leaves out by the street, and it was the last pickup for the year. So it was a little bit later than now. And I was not bent at the knees. I was just, straight legging it right down, lifting the blade, boom, back goes out, and I'm stuck, bent over. And that was the first time I'd had back issues ever. So here I am, 10 years or so later, stupid stuff once again, mundane activity. Here I am, totally hurting. So, yeah, it's time. Time to get in shape. It's now or never. So, that's the week. That's the weekend. That's why if I'm meandering more than normal, stumbling, fumbling, trying to find the words, that's why. So, that's why it's going to be in and out. Simple topic tonight. Simple topic. And the topic came to me only because I heard a song. Sometimes that's all it takes for inspiration to strike. It's just hearing a song. And what I heard was a song by a well-known actor who happened to have a hit song. So I started thinking about actors who were primarily actors. So what I've excluded from here are actors who have done musicals, and the soundtrack from the musicals become hits. So there's no Hugh Jackman or Zac Efron, no Bradley Cooper with Lady Gaga, nothing like that. No John Travolta, no Olivia Newton-John, right? Because that's just not fair. Because musicals, by their very nature, are, they're music. Nothing like TV shows, like the Monkees. They weren't truly a band until they actually became one. It's not the Partridge Family, stuff like that. And it's also not comedians. Because many comedians, when they put out their records, will include music or skits. So no Adam Sandler, who's had hit songs. No Steve Martin, who's also had hit songs. So nothing like that. Just to kind of give you the exclusions. So we're going to start off with 1977. And David Soul of Starsky and Hutch fame with Don't Give Up on Us. This is such a soft sound of the 70s song. And it just has always struck me that the persona of David Soul would not lead you to believe that this is the music that he put out into the world. Like, at all. It just seems like such a strange, odd thing. But apparently, he started working with a UK songwriter producer, and he liked what the guy was talking about. Goes, let's do it. And they did this album. And Don't Give Up on Us was like a hit song. I remember this being on radio all the freaking time. And it's still on light rock stations. It is a timeless classic by, of all people, David Soul. All right. So the next one. This one is interesting because subsequent to the debut record and hit song, apparently this guy has had like 6 or 7 records. And I remember a good friend of mine loved this guy as an actor, a soap opera actor, by the way. Oh, it's going to be a tough one. I am a hurting unit, man. Jack Wagner with All I Need. If you listen to any like light rock or retro radio, this song is going to be on there. 1984, All I Need. And honestly, it's a good pop song of the time period. And he can sing. Do you know what I mean? Like, he really can hold a note. Now, I've never listened to records from like any of the people that are on the list to tell you whether they had anything else going for them other than these hit songs. But they had these hit songs, and they seemingly came out of nowhere. Now, I'm sure part of it is radio was different back then. But obviously, like, the record labels were very, very powerful as far as like getting stuff on the radio. If they wanted it to be a hit, they could make it a hit. Now, mind you, the song had to be good enough. Now, I'm not saying that All I Need is going to be on one of my playlists, but I certainly can't say it's a bad song. So tell me, what do you think? Jack Wagner, thumbs up, thumbs down? Like I said, my friend, she was loving that guy. So the next one, I think, gets forgotten a little bit as far as like the pantheon of the actor putting out a song. Now, I said no comics, right? I think this has to be somewhat of an exception because although she was a sketch comedy actor, and I think in some ways her show like begat like an entire legacy show because The Simpsons actually started on the Tracey Ullman show. So also in 1984, she had her cover of They Don't Know. Was it Kate McCraw? I forget who the original artist was. I want to say like Christy McNichol, but I don't think that's it. And it is such a good, like, it's kind of an homage, I guess, in a lot of ways to like the like 50s, more like 60s kind of Motownish kind of feel, I think. At least that's how it's portrayed, where it's kind of like that style. I think part of it is how she is presenting it in the music video, which is talking about loving someone who may or may not be on the surface worthy of such love. There's a cameo from Sir Paul McCartney like bonkers that this even exists. But I'd kind of like forgotten what it sounded like. So I turned it on and I'm like, yep, there it is. That was a huge hit. And it's almost like I knew of her first from that song before the TV show, like the sketch show. I forget exactly where the timeline that falls, but let's see, what came first? The Tracey Ullman show or the song? Let's see. That is 1987. Yeah, so I knew of her from the song first. So it's kind of just a weird context for her as a performer. I'm like, oh, that's the lady who sang that song, and yet she's doing like this crazy variety sketch comedy show. Completely kind of a juxtaposition, I think, in my head. But nevertheless, they don't know. Great song. Now, the next one might be considered a great song if for no other reason. I don't want to say it's a guilty pleasure, but I guess maybe it is, because I can't say maybe it's objectively good, but I can't say it's bad. And I think part of it is because it was written, co-produced, co-performed by Rick James. And that's Eddie Murphy, 1985's Party All the Time. My girl likes to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time. Like that's the bulk of it. I think part of it was hearing him sing, because you knew of him at this point. Let's see. Obviously he had done Saturday Night Live. He had done his stand-up shows, Raws, Delirious, and all that. So let's see. When was... Yeah, so this is after he is now a movie star. Because Party All the Time came out in 1985. Beverly Hills Cop came out in 1984. So now he's like, okay. He did stand up, got Saturday Night Live, then went back to stand up, became huge, or somewhere around there. I'm trying to remember exactly like the timeline of Raw and Delirious to the SNL timeline. Then he has a hit movie as a lead, action lead. I mean, what came first? 48 Hours? Did that come first? Let's see. That was 1982. So yeah, 1982 was 48 Hours. So crazy. So now he's like, okay, I've done this. So now I'm going to do a record. Because why not? Right? Like, I always enjoyed singing. I'm an ultimate performer. Let's do this. Sure enough, there he is. Eddie Murphy, hit song, Party All the Time. Still played on the radio from time to time. Now, next one. Similar to Party All the Time. Is it good? Is it bad? I just don't know. Because it's so unexpected. It's even more unexpected when you look at this guy now in the latter stages of his life. What is he? Late 60s, probably, maybe even older. Let's take a look. 73 years old. I am talking about Sonny Crockett. Mr. John Donson. Don Johnson. See, I am out of it. Don Johnson with Heartbeat, 1986. Weird video, like kind of a serious video. Very, very strange, but it's catchy. Like, it is catchy. I mean, I can't say that it isn't. It just seems so strange that this even happened. It's like a fever dream when you see that music video. But it's like he sings a good enough song, like a serviceable voice. But one reviewer said that Don Johnson sings like a Glenn Frey acts. which of course Glenn Frey did some, stints on Miami Vice, right? Brutal, like absolutely brutal. But it was a hit. I mean, let's see, how high did it go? Number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. Just bizarre. But I remember it being on the radio all the time. Now, the next one. I got to tell you, like, it comes on and I don't know. It's a classic. And I think more than any of these, it might be the most unexpected in some ways. Like Don Johnson, it does seem completely out of place just because of his career arc, what he's done. But the song that actually made me decide to do this episode tonight, because it does get played. Now, mind you, sometimes it gets played at the grocery store. And I don't listen to a ton of radio, but when I do, this inevitably seems to come on. She's Like the Wind by Patrick Swayze, 1987. It's a good song. And I don't think of Patrick Swayze as a singer, yet here he has this like amazing song. She's like the wind. How high did this go? Number 3 on Billboard. And it says right here, it is still in rotation on radio. Yeah, it is. Now, of course, it was on the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. Oh, I have to eliminate it, though. I have to eliminate it because I said not soundtracks. I got to take it off the list. Darn it, I forgot that it was on there. For some reason, I think of it as just being this like singular song all by itself. Damn it. Oh, interesting. Oh, Swayze already had it and wanted to put it on the soundtrack. Is that true? To Youngblood, starring Rob Lowe, Swayze tried to get the song on there. Okay, I'm putting it back on the list because it wasn't made specifically for the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. He recorded it and then tried to get it shopped and get it onto another soundtrack. So what on earth made him decide to go do this? Very strange. It says nothing about like how it came to be. Swayze and Stacey Wedowitz co-wrote the song in 1984. It was originally intended for the soundtrack of Grandview, USA, and was meant to be about Jamie Lee Curtis' character in the film. What? No way. So he also wrote it. That is crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he also wrote it. I guess that's why it comes from such a sincere place and that he sings it with such authenticity. Because, I mean, songs are oftentimes, I think, you have to really invest in the song. The fact that he wrote it himself, he's really singing those words from his heart. That's why it makes sense. Man, good on you, Patrick Swayze. Damn. Far too young. Lost him far too young. All right. So now, I guess this is a debatable. The next two are probably debatable. Not because they're from soundtracks or anything like that, but because both of these guys kind of fancy themselves as musicians. But they really only had these hits. All right, so 1987, Mr. Bruce Willis with Respect Yourself. Now, the whole Bruno thing, it was divisive. I just remember this being a thing of like Entertainment Weekly and like stuff like that. And Bruce Willis, kind of viewing himself as a Renaissance man. See Eddie Murphy earlier, stuff like that. And it was just kind of dismissed because it was like a lot of, blue-eyed soul stuff, because that's what he enjoyed. But yeah, I mean, he put out that record and it's not great. Like, he can carry a tune. So I don't want to pretend like he can't. Like, he could be a credible singer, but the material, all derivative, a lot of covers, those kind of things. Like, this is a cover, let's see. When did he record this? Can't spell. Let's see. So originally performed by the Staple Sisters, Staple Singers, also been recorded by, Joe Cocker did a version of this. But yeah, Bruce Willis, 1987. Crazy. So then the next guy was playing a musician on TV, but very, very much known as first a soap opera star, a soap opera heartthrob, if you will, and then a sitcom heartthrob, who also happened to be the sometime touring drummer for the Beach Boys. And I'm talking about John Stamos in 1992, his rendition of the Beach Boys classic Forever. Now, technically, this is on a Beach Boys record, and he was doing his version of Forever, which he had done on Full House with Jesse and the Rippers. But it was originally sung by Dennis Wilson, who had obviously passed away. So when they were doing this kind of like reissue, whatever set, because John Stamos wanted to do it for Full House, so like, let's include it. And because John Stamos' song. So when he continued to tour with the Beach Boys, he would get to come out and sing that song. What is that lyric? Oh my gosh. I can like hear it in my head, but I can't possibly access it right now. That's right. If every word I said could make you laugh, I'd talk forever. I asked the sky just what we had. It shone forever. If the song I sing to you could fill your heart with joy, I'd sing forever. 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 John Stamos, ridiculous. But hey, this was a hit. It was, it was put out with his vocal, became a hit and a staple on the show. It was Jesse and the Rippers kind of hit song. So now I've talked about the next one because it reminds me of Strawberries Records and Tapes in Meriden, Connecticut, Town Line Square, or across the street from Town Line Square. And here you have another sitcom TV heartthrob, Cash In When You Can, and Joey Lawrence with Nothing My Love Can't Fix from 1993. A serviceable pop song. Like, that's really all you can say. Catchy hook. It's a really catchy hook. And you know what? He committed. He committed to it. I think that's really all I could say about it. I mean, he was taking a chance. Let's see. Did he write it? He did. He's a co-writer on it. Yeah. Writing credit. Whether he did or he didn't, I don't know. Very strange. But it debuted at number 68 on Billboard. Spent 20 weeks on the chart, reaching its peak position of 19 on 1993. But on 1993 year-end chart, the song achieved a position of number 92. So it never got like to the top of the charts, but it was on there for quite some time, which is why it was on the year-end list. And I know he had other songs that came off of that record afterwards, but I don't think any of them made a dent. And let's see, does he have... how many other records did this guy do? Let's see. Oh, just the one record. Just the one record. Just a couple of singles here and there, but ultimately, he had just the one with the one real chart hit. So, hey, go for it, Joey Lawrence. Go for it. And finally, this might be maybe, was this the top of the charts? I've also mentioned this song before. Because as a friend of mine once put it, this song officially brought an end or a close to what we had known about the 90s. Because it was happening right around the same time of grunge. And it had what my friend called the last true saxophone solo, signaling the death knell of music pre-grunge. And we're talking about How Do You Talk to an Angel from The Heights. Jamie Walters, of course, is credited kind of as the artist on it because he was the lead singer. And this made it to number one. Number one on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. I mean, are you serious? That's why, it makes sense when my friend says that was the last song kind of its era. By the way, All I Need by Jack Wagner reached number 2, never made it to number 1. I think those are the two highest charting songs on the list. Let me double check She's Like the Wind. Was that number 1? Number 3. So really what we're talking about here is Jamie Walters. You go, buddy. I should have pulled this up, like what their chart position was, but like I said, I've been kind of all the past few days. Yeah, Party All the Time, Eddie Murphy, number 2. I mean, it looks like the guy is Jamie Walters. How Do You Talk to an Angel? That is the big winner on the list of actors with hit songs. Let's see. The song Heartbeat. How high did... Number 5 for Don Johnson. Yeah. But I didn't look at David Soul. So let's look at David Soul. Don't Give Up on Us. David Soul. So David Soul, Starsky and Hutch, Jamie Walters, How Do You Talk to an Angel? Number 1 hit songs, Billboard Top 100. I knew there had to be another number 1 in there. And sure enough, it's the first one on the list. David Soul. And you just look at David Soul. You just look at him. And if you haven't looked at a picture of Starsky and Hutch in a minute, you're just going to go, how did this song come out of this guy? Mind-blowing. But anyway, like I said, there were a bunch of people that, I went back and forth on. So someone might say, oh gosh, what is his name? Michael Damian, something Damian. He was on Michael Damian. Yeah, Rock On, right? What I didn't know was that he was already a musician beforehand and was actually in like a family group. So he actually went from music into acting. Someone like Rick Springfield was already making music, went into acting, right? So I look at that as being somewhat different. If Bradley Cooper wasn't involved, still with, it's a musical, but Lady Gaga, she went from music into acting. So I think it's a little bit different. You know, I mentioned Steve Martin. King Tut was a huge hit, but he was doing, comedy records. I could have included, just because it's so random to me and I still don't understand, but the night the lights went out in Georgia, Vicki Lawrence, Mama's Family. She's Mama. She's on the Carol Burnett show. Huge hit. But she said she was done with music like right after that. She'd rather be doing the other kind of comedic stuff that she had been doing. But yeah, there's a bunch here or there. Like I said, I mean, I would have loved to have put, but I Think I Love You by the Partridge Family. But you know what? David Cassidy was already, a musician and a heartthrob. So it didn't make sense. Like the Partridge Family, that was designed to make music. I mean, same thing with the Brady Bunch, because they started getting into variety and like putting out records and doing different kinds of stuff. Obviously, you got your Donnie and Maries, but they're all around performers. So there's definitely a handful. I think now there is definitely more of it's definitely going from like the actors who decide they want to maybe put out a record. They can gather up a bunch of people, but I think it's much more common at this point where musicians get into acting. I mean, that's no surprise. That goes back to, gosh, I'm sure there's people in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, but certainly you look at someone like Diana Ross, who went from being a huge mainstream music star to an actress, being in some great films. And we can go through the list of so many more. But anyway, like I said, this was an in and out episode tonight. I'm going to go back and hang out with my beautiful wife, celebrate the rest of her birthday, go ahead and try to metabolize some of this ice cream that we had a little while ago. And yeah, maybe I'll put up a playlist of all these really great, heavy, kick-ass songs of the 70s, 80s, and 90s from actors. Yeah, it's so weird. I'm still blown away by Don't Give Up on Us and How Do You Talk to an Angel? #1 hits. It's crazy. So, you can even tell me if this episode was weak sauce. I'm totally okay with it. You can let me know that. You can also tell me who might I have missed, what songs you really like. Do you think that some of these deserve to be thought back on favorably, negatively? Let me know. And how do you do that? You can email me at stuckinthemiddlepod@yahoo.com. You can find me on Instagram, X, and YouTube at StuckPodX. Head on over to the Facebook page, Stuck in the Middle, a Gen X podcast. Please like, comment, share, leave 5-star reviews, and most importantly, please subscribe to the podcast. So until next time, later, slackers.